Welcome back to day 17 of How to Fix the World in 80 Days. As always, feel free to share your comments about today's subject, which is jail. I know that jail is an important part of society, but there's no way that what we're doing is the best way to solve crime. Too many people are in jail, and it's not having the intended effect. Some things gotta change. As usual, let's start by looking at some statistics. In Haiti, jails are overcrowded at 454%. How do you even do that? In 26% of the world's countries, blasphemy is still punishable by jail. And in the US, at any given time, there can be over 7 million people incarcerated, which is almost 1 out of every 50 Americans. For the self-titled greatest country in the world, that's not exactly setting the best example. So I guess it comes down to what you think the primary purpose of jail is. Is it to punish people, or is it to rehabilitate them? It's gotta be to rehabilitate people, right? I mean, when they get out, they're gonna live in the same areas, they're gonna go to the same bars. I'd rather not be afraid of these people. But here's a fun fact. In the US, the recidivism rates are as high as 75%, which means these people either really like going to jail or rehabilitation is not working. I wonder why that is. Well, maybe there's a reason these people are in jail. I mean, where else can you pay people 25 to 40 cents an hour? Federal prisoners in the US make anything from wooden cabinets to military helmets. So not only are they paying them just above slave labor, they're also taking away jobs from people who aren't in prison who could otherwise be doing that work. Or how about charging prisoners rent to stay in jail? It's called pay to stay. In some states, prisons charge as much as $50 a day for the privilege to be locked up, leaving some prisoners to leave jail with debts as high as $35,000. But not even that is as bad as the idea of private prisons, where you can own a prison as a business. That means you have a financial incentive to lock up as many people as possible. Right now in the US, 8 to 10% of prisoners are held in privately owned prisons. When did we decide that incarceration was a good way to make money? I know that reforming jail is not easy. It's hard to look someone in the face who hurt your child, your friend, your family, and tell them, we're gonna give you another chance. But what's also not working is the status quo. We can't continue to lock up all of our problems. Eventually, they get out. New plan. Instead of focusing on punishment, I'd rather focus on prevention and rehabilitation. I want to build a world where people just don't do crime. And when they do, we stop them from doing it again. It's a pretty ambitious plan, so how do we get there? Well, we can start by looking at systems that are working much better than ours do. In Norway, recidivism rates are 20% compared to the US, which is at more like 75%. What are they doing that we can do better? Let's also look into who are the most likely people to go to prison. Poor people. Race aside, it's probably the one most common trait. So here's a solution. Give these people a job and they won't need to do crime. Legalize drugs. In some countries, as high as 45% of inmates' main offense is drugs. These people aren't dangerous. They just want to get high. Let them. Leave jail for the real criminals. On that note, teach prisoners a useful skill while they're in jail. They might as well come out as useful citizens, not worse off than when they got there in the first place. An education or a trade would be a great place to start. Does this mean that I believe in fairy gumdrops and that every prisoner should walk free? No way. In some cases, I don't think our laws are tough enough. For example, I'm perfectly okay with the death penalty. If the evidence is 100% clear and we know without a shadow of a doubt that they made a premeditated choice to take someone's life, why should we spend resources and time taking care of these people? As far as I'm concerned, when they made a choice to take a life, they gave up their right for theirs. So you can call me a redneck or a pacifist, I don't really care. Some days, I'm a little bit of both. All I know is that between these two extremes lies a better justice system, and it's absolutely something we need to fix before it's too late. If you had the choice, what would you do?